So, and then I decided to present our history, so how we in Riga doing our clinical trials and how we're proceeding very shortly, and mostly I will put pictures, otherwise you'll get sleepy, and this is today's last presentation before the gala dinner, so really don't want to make it too bad. Well, I have not much to disclose regarding this presentation and how I started personally. So it was 1993, I was exchange student, University of Chicago, and I get first $20, for that. I participated in one study, didn't know anything about studies, but I was happy, $20, and some free food, and I was in some kind of academic study. I was very happy with that. And then later on, in 1995, I already was involved in real study. It was an anuric animal study. It was pretty previous before the Medtronic. So we implanted the grafts in the sheep, and later on explanting already on bigger sheep. So, and we have so many animal activists, if they will see this kind of picture, I would be in trouble, at that time. Anyway, but that was how I started my first time, and then later I've been PIQL for many studies, and just to share some images and memories maybe. So we've been very privileged and happy. So when in 1997, you may recognize some guys, so Tom Fogarty, Stephen Osterley at the time was chief invasive cardiologist at Stanford, so Mike Dake, so when Chris Zerins came to Riga, and we had actually not only a very nice symposium over there, but we actually implanted the first thoracic and abdominal aortic stent grafts. So with Mike Dake, we implanted this first thoracic ones with a pushing device, We push a stent in the aorta, and for the abdominal stent graft, it was just aorta unilever stent with a occluder and then fem bypass. So this was just beginning of all this, and I was very happy as a kid to be part of this all stuff. So, of course, later on we became very active in Riga as well, being involved in many studies, and I will share some pictures later on. And I think why in Riga, so I think we had pretty high patient motivation to be involved in the studies, and high level and good diagnostics and therapies, and relatively cheap, hospital stay, and not expensive diagnostics as well. And in the same time as pretty experienced doctors and investigators, trial staff, and I think all staff is very motivated. And of course, historically, medical centers had centralization. That was rather easy to get clinical trial patients. But looking to the data generally in the country, unfortunately in Latvia, and it's happening in Baltics as well, the number of clinical trials are going down. Small countries, even in Scandinavia, is going down. So, and it's not so much interest. And unfortunately, young physicians are not so much interested in do clinical trials, not even industry-sponsored academic trials. And we are struggling nowadays. Everybody wants to become vascular surgeon today and do just vascular surgery, get some extra money in phlebology, and be happy. But it's not easy to attract young generation nowadays to do any research, and so we trying quite a bit to encourage them and to get more people in the clinical trials. So, well, there is a certain process. It doesn't matter you're speaking about drugs or devices, between idea and market in the development process is very instant to participate. And I think we've been privileged to be part of this kind of development, particularly in medical devices. And there is, again, you can speak all day about the patients, investigators, trial centers, monitors, CROs, ethics committees, regulatories, and sponsors, but all of these parts are extremely important to conduct very high quality trials. And when we're speaking in academic trials, we sometimes say, hey, okay, maybe some end objectives are different between academic trials and sponsor, let's say, industry-sponsored trials. But at the same time, the quality which is required by industry trials is extremely high. And we're really trying to get with our academic trials in the same level. So, and of course, nowadays, it's not only trials in Latvia or Sweden or UK. We very much depend on different kind of regulations. There is EU regulations, okay, thanks to Brexit, probably a little bit easier in UK, but there are multiple regulations, country-specific regulations, SOPs, hospital SOPs or requirements, and PI or main investigator has to do a lot management stuff to do the study. So, and Thomas asked me to speak about what is good clinical trial site, and I think there is certain points. And number one, professional and motivated team is very important. One investigator can do anything. If you don't have whole team, there is other guys, other investigators, there is a coordinator, professional, study nurse. Every person is very, very important in this stuff. Then, of course, appropriate facilities and equipment. Available and motivated patients are very important as well. Because nowadays we know our patients in Baltic countries are much more motivated than somebody in Germany, which already receiving the best medical therapy. Why he or she would go to the trial if already they're receiving the best. But here in our region still the patients can get medical healthcare system much easy access to the healthcare providers, and there's other reasons why patients are pretty happy to be in the study. So next is very important for all studies is a timely recruitment. And there's different ways how to measure it. One of them is from approval to the first patient. So it's mean industry counting the money. And they don't want to wait 2 years before you start the study. It's very, very, very important to do everything in timely manner. And of course, previous experience is very important. And of course, how you deal with the ICA, GCP, which is extremely important, I think, in all studies, or speaking academic studies or industry. And of course, all of you who've been involved in industry studies know what it means, FDA study, FDA audit, or MEA audit, of course, billions of other kind of audits. So, and what else is important for the sites when somebody wants to do this study is professional, fast approval process. And so far, of course, been different between the countries, between the different EU countries, but now with a new centralized portal, it's pretty unified, and it seems every country becomes pretty bad because it takes pretty long time from one side hand, but for other hand, some other countries, if they have no objections, so within 3 months they'll be able to do the study. So with a device trial, still there's a bit confusion because there is EU regulation, but I think each member state reads this regulation in a different way. So there's still not so great harmonization of that. Of course, fast contracting process is important as well because it's very important to make very fast contract, not wait 6 months to get the contract with the hospital. Then again, unfortunately, it's too late. Sometimes CRA availability is needed, and professional communication is very, very important as well. Because we know we are, big professors, we have no time to speak with anybody, blah, blah, blah. But, these guys coming, they really need this good communication. And I see in my unit, we're running about, in our hospital, 150 trials. The investigators who don't communicate usually don't get next trials. They really need good, speedy communication. And of course, regular networking is needed. Just you have to be visible. Because who knows what in your village, taking account of all something happening. You have to show everybody what you can do. Patient's perspective in future, what will happen. So, of course, there is a lot of questions. You see already why I should participate, placebo trials, first in man, CE mark, IDE trials. Long follow-ups for many patients are very painful as well. COVID was pretty tricky for every country. So, but of course, there are other problems. So, especially when we're speaking about US clinical trials, receiving some grandmother, 80-year-old, receiving, you know, a 50, 60-page informed consent. It's no way. You as even an investigator sleepy on the page 3, how you can expect others to read it through. So, again, new versions of informed consents, how to deal with electronic records. More and more studies require these electronic records, and not every patient is, you know, kid who is very fluent with these electronic systems and many other stuff regarding the patients. At the same time, we are in a challenging world regarding PI perspective and investigator perspective. It's more and more obligations comes to principal investigator and investigators, as we see from the recent update of GCP. So, and again, follow the protocol. We are responsible for everything what's happening with the patient, and of course there is many other important things for the investigator. I'm not going through just to save the time. Well, generally we've been happy actually to do a lot of studies, and we've been a site for many trainings as well, and why we are happy to see everybody in Riga, so in our site, and share our experience, and we always learning from other people who are coming to visit us. And I would like to share just some babies. So this is our one baby, maybe a little bit ugly baby. You recognize this, but you know, you cannot choose. Babies sometimes are nicer, sometimes not so nice, but we went through from the first in man and CE mark and up to the later stage. And frankly speaking, hey, the first generation of NELIX was excellent because the concept itself was great, no type 2 endoleaks. And first generation NELIX were tapered stents, where the bare stent ingrowth in aorta, there was zero migration, zero. It was perfect. Unfortunately, the problem was the distal part. So that means sometimes, some time of development, if something goes wrong, it may ruin later on all the study. So, oops. Let's see. Something happened. Something happened with the presentation. Could you help me? It's frozen. It just frozen everything.
Atsiprašau, gal galit mums ten padėti su kompiuteriu?
Yeah, I think I just, of course, extend my time. So, yeah, okay. Maybe we can start from here. And I will move just to him. Yeah, this was our second baby. It was a Lombard autograft, and now we learned. We went from the first in man to the current situation, and still I believe there is many patients which really benefit from this. This was a very interesting baby actually. It's a PQ bypass. I'm not going deeper, so as well we started from the beginning. And it's always so interesting to start with the first developments together with the engineers to develop these techniques. Of course, many other studies all the time where we are been pretty busy. But I would like to focus out particularly this study I'm very proud of. And this is Thomas actually in the middle you see. And this is a Thomas study with his robotic system. And why I'm particularly happy about this system, because it's a finally first concept idea coming from Baltic countries. It's not taking somebody else's concept and doing first in man, ID, trial, etc., etc. This comes from here. And I'm pretty proud. I'm very proud actually about that. So, and we've been happy to do this first 20 patients in Riga. So there's two robots speaking between each other. So, and I'm very happy about this system, and I think it's will be a very great future for this robotic system. Yeah, well, basically there is much research to be done, and I think in future we'll have extremely many trials to be done, and I would motivate many young doctors to participate in clinical trials, academic and industry trials, just to get more knowledge and more devices for patients to help. And of course, always will be debate, open or EVAR, and it's changed time by time. And of course, will be question who is doing, and more we're getting more multidisciplinary approach. Then not only one vascular surgeon can do something, so it's a multidisciplinary approach for any decisions. And of course, there is no truth, because depending on which angle you are looking to, it could be one or other, and especially I think in a medical field there is no black and white, and to do anything you need a good team, and I'm very happy I have a very good team in Latvia. Thank you very much. Ačiū.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions from the audience? Yes, please.
Thank you very much. I'm from the North Estonia Medical Center, and I don't work with vascular clinical trials, but I do work with clinical trials. How do you motivate your team? How do you keep your team motivated? If you have so many patients who are interested in the clinical trial, in being included in the clinical trial, for the team it might be a little bit too much. And I'm not just talking about the doctors, but also the study coordinators, the study nurses, whoever you have included, radiologists. How do you keep them motivated?
This is excellent question. This is very sensitive question, and we could speak all day about that. In Latvia, we had on May large conference when we spoke about this system. And basically it depends on the country where we are, and the systems are different. And the different understanding will be at Martin's site, you know, in Scandinavia. Different will be in UK. Different will be in Baltic countries. It's very country specific. I would say in Baltic countries, the main motivation for the team is just the salary. That's the salary. And you cannot motivate saying that you will work, you know, 100 hours every week more, and you have possibilities to go to the conference, or you'll get the book, or something like that. It doesn't work. Unfortunately, that would be nice to hear Martin's comments as well, but it doesn't work. And only motivation is show me the endpoint, and endpoint is only one. And when we've been conducted clinical trials in many countries, and even in Scandinavia, they would say, no, we have one contract hospital always, only. But in the reality, you go to the site and the boss says, hey, well, where's my contract? Oh, no contract, no patients. In many countries, like in Germany, for many sites, they're having these sites just as a tick box because they need EU country like Germany to be visible, where the patient numbers were low, because nobody is motivated. Because the boss comes, professor comes, tells to my slaves, hey, take the patients, the study, they will take 1, 2, 3 patients, that's it. So that's mean, frankly speaking, we found that only way is each team member should be motivated financially, and then it works. As only maybe, I'm not speaking about young PhD doctors, etc., who needs some additional endpoints or like publications or research stuff, but otherwise this would be motivation.
Just as an alternative to this, of course, you can always motivate with money, but we have a different model in Uppsala. We are leaning a lot on research nurses, and we recruit research nurses from the ward. So they are experienced nurses working in the ward, and then that's a pretty tough working situation because you work nights and weekends, etc. So then what we have done is that we've created mixed positions. So they would work maybe 50% ward work, 50% research nurse work. And then, because when they are not working weekends and evenings, that 50% that they are doing the research work, then we increase their salary with 20% to compensate. So otherwise they would have lost salary by, but they actually don't gain any money from this, but they get a better working situation. Not working, instead of working every third weekend. They work every 5th or 6th weekend, which is a great difference for a young mother maybe. So then that's another way of doing it. And then also the administrators of the hospital are happy because we have difficulty staffing the hospital wards, but we never had that problem in our ward because we combined ward work with research, also with AAA screening and with also with other activities. So that's another way of looking at it, to create a nice working environment, and of course the team thinking. Of course, some of these incomes that we get from industry collaboration go into our academic projects, but they never end up in anyone's pocket, so to speak.
And a different way, in Oxford, we've recruited and randomized over 100,000 patients to different pharmaceutical trials, largely statins, but also some blood pressure-lowering drugs as well. And what we do is we try to make every individual team member at the randomizing and recruiting sites feel part of the team and feel part of the project. And we do that by regular communications, newsletters, etc., but also having annual collaborator meetings where we bring everybody from the peripheral sites to Oxford, and now we're too big, so they come to London. We give them nice food, we bring them up to date with the study, emerging results in the field, add alcohol, and everyone goes away quite happy and motivated to carry on for another year. And that's been successful, and the collaborative group has been built up over 30 years. We're on 3rd generation collaborators now, which is quite nice.
Yeah, as you see, there's different ways, but I don't see how it would work. You know, if I've asked my teammates, 10 vascular surgeons for one drink, good dinner to come, and then all year to send the patients for the study, it would never work. They will forget next week, because they'll get busy with everyday clinical work. And I think it's the same in Lithuania. That's very maybe different. And what we have to take into account, like I heard a lot about in UK, I spoke with some people from Manchester, so they have a very high number of governmental sponsored and academic trials. And in many places, these academic trials, which are sponsored by different funds, are much more than industry-sponsored trials. We have opposite, actually. Our government sponsors so little, so then basically we have to rely on this opposite part. So it's been, again, it's very difficult to copy-paste, each country's ideas, but we definitely can learn from each of them.
I think our take-home message is that the income that you get from collaboration with industry can be used in different ways. And one way of using it is to promote research in your team. And that can include, for instance, that our PhD student gets an extra month free from clinical work to work on their thesis and things like that. So we also have a mixed financing system that we get some money from the government, most money actually from grants that we apply, such as the Swedish Research Council, Heart and Lung Foundation. But also when we run a trial together with industry, it's very profitable for us. And all that money goes into our common. And that, as long as the team knows that this money that I'm now part of creating goes to the common good of the team, and our young team members can develop, I think that's actually accepted in our environment. But I realize that situations are different in different countries, obviously.
That's true. You're more socialistic.
Well, more altruistic. We're not very socialistic, actually. There's no country in Europe where the income differences has increased more the last 20, 30 years than in Sweden. So it's not a very socialist country. But I think one thing is the rule of law. That's very strong in Sweden. So people pay their taxes and things like that. Yeah.
I think it would be a nice discussion for tonight, dinner. Thank you.
Thank you to all the speakers and to you, everybody listening here, and see you at the gala dinner. We are officially finished.
Thank you.